Hey there, viewers. This is Carlos speaking, and today we're going to talk about ways to improve and how to say tongue twisters. Now, there are an infinity of tips that I could give you to improve on tongue twisters, and I love me some good old tongue twisters. But the thing with tongue twisters, they are intentionally difficult. So, unfortunately, I think that there's no easy way to do it to say them more than practicing. But there are a lot of not topics, tips that I could give you, so maybe they can help you. For example, one of the tips that I could give you, it's very simple. You just focus on the syllables or the parts of the tongue twister that are difficult for you. So when you start saying it, you make emphasis on those parts or you start speaking slower on those parts. For example, there's a tongue twister that is red leather, yellow leather. Now, for me, in this tongue twister, that I even said completely, it's pretty difficult because leather, it's hard for me to pronounce. But since for me, leather is the hard part, what would I do? Would be red leather, yellow leather. I'm making emphasis on the hard part. Okay? There are also some other tips that I could give you. One's practicing or just finding an appropriate tongue twister for you because they come in different levels. If you search for some, they will be really short ones that you just have to repeat the same sentences or the same words. For example, purple paper people. If you start saying it fast and you don't have practiced it, it will be something like this: purple paper people, purple, and you start babbling. And it's funny because it happens to me a lot. But for me, I also like some tongue twisters that I learned. Fortunately, they are in Spanish, and one of them is el arzobispo de Constantinopla se quiere desconstantinopolizar. El que lo desconstantinopolice será un gran and oh my god, I just read that. I twisted my tongue. uh, well, there was a video that was talking about this. They gave examples, for example, the red leather, yellow leather. They also gave examples about 1, 2, 3, and 4. They explained why it's difficult and how to improve on those. They also explained that if you start repeating it constantly and faster, it would be faster. It would be better, sorry. Obviously, it would be faster, but the point is that you will improve, right? So, they said start slowly, then go faster and faster and faster, and it will be easier. For example, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, and so on, and so on, and so on until you improve with that specific tongue twister. Now, if you give me some time, I will gladly put on your screen some examples of the tongue twister that I was mentioning before, the short ones. So I want you to repeat it or just read it out loud or your mind, I don't know, however you like, so you can practice them and try to repeat them 5 times. Now, in these tongue twisters, you are going to repeat the same sentences more than once, okay? So, finish that one, proceed with another one, okay? Back to soon. Let's continue talking about tongue twisters. Now, there are a lot of, as I said before, we have a lot of tongue twisters and tips to improve on them. Now, I want to give you an example of one tongue twister I really like, and it says, "I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream." This is flat, but who cares about that? The thing with tongue twisters, as I said before, they are hard. And there's a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot. I also gave you an example of a tongue twister that I learned in Spanish, and there are way too more. For me or for you, there's people that dedicate their entire lives to learning tongue twisters. Believe me, I heard stories. Now, the unfortunately, I cannot give you a lot of examples. But I want to ask you: did you practice the tongue twisters that I showed you earlier? Yes, that's great. Did you improve with the tips that I mentioned before, or did you search for some? Because if not, I still have some tips for you. One tip that I could give you: just read the tongue twister. As I said, it's simple. Just read the tongue twister slowly. Just, I don't know. Even if you want to speak it, just say it really quietly. For example, ice cream. You scream for ice cream. And then you start repeating it. Then you try to memorize it. And then you start practicing doing it from slow to fast. Ice cream. You scream. We all scream for ice cream. Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. And then you go and you go and you go and you repeat all the process, same process. Then we also have another tip. It's pretty easy. You read the tongue twister again. Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Okay? Then you start separating the words and you repeat them, each word separately 5 times. I, scream, 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 scream. You. And you get the idea, right? You're going to start doing that, and after that you just check. Did you learn the tongue twister? No? Repeat it. If you learn the tongue twister, now try to say it. Just from memory, not reading it, just from memory. If you want, you can go back to the examples that I gave you before, or if not, I'm also going to give you some more examples. Now these ones are going to be harder, not simple sentences, they are going to be more words, okay? Take note. See you later. Continuing on talking about tongue twisters, did you practice the examples that I gave you? Well, if you said yes, I'm not Dora Explorer to hear you, but I suppose that you practice them. So, if you practice them and you got confused, well, we can continue giving examples on how to improve, or we could check again. And if you improve, that means that you are learning correctly how to say tongue twisters. Now, moving on. On tongue twisters, we have the problem that many words start repeating itself a lot of times. For example, in the tongue twister that I gave you before, we have purple paper people, and we are going to say that 3 times. 3 times faster. Purple paper people, and you saw what happened? It's hard. So, what other example I could give you? If we have really long tongue twisters, for example, the Constantinople one, we are going to take parts of the tongue twister and we are going to do almost the same as we did with words, but now with phrases. For example, I don't remember exactly how is the Constantinople one on English, but if it would be in Spanish, it would be el arzobispo. Repeat with me, el arzobispo. And we are going to start doing that once again. But now instead of 5 times, we're going to do 3. It's a little bit harder, but it could work faster. Okay? So, el arzobispo, el arzobispo, el arzobispo. Then, de Constantinopla, de Constantinopla, de Constantinopla, and so on, and so on, until you learn from memory the tongue twister. Because that's it, that's actually the best trick I could give you. Learn from memory the tongue twister. If you learn it, then you can start practicing it more faster. You can start speaking faster with it, and maybe in a board conversation you can be like, hey, can you say purple paper people super fast? Like me? They will be like, no dude. But teach me. Because they are going to be impressed. Because believe me, they sound boring at some point. But when you introduce them at a specific moment and you start saying these tongue twisters, people are going to be intrigued because they want to learn how did you manage to start saying that thing so fast, because they would be like, oh, that's easy, and they would be like, purple bill. Excuse me? How did you do that? No. We have to be slow and steady on this process, because it's not something that we can do in a couple seconds, unless you're Einstein. I don't know, maybe he was good with it, I don't know, I'm not the one to judge. Once again, I'm going to leave you some examples. Now these ones are going to be more harder than the ones that I gave you before, so we're going on levels, right? If you feel insecure, we can always go back to the short ones, but we have a lot of repetition on those ones. Then we have we could say that it's middle difficulty, right? And with those, you can easily start practicing. This one, I would recommend starting in the second tier, the medium level. Why? Because it's not as easy, but it's not as hard. And if you are a tryhard, we called it, or you want to prove yourself, or you want a challenge, we can always go to the hard ones. And if you learn these tongue twisters, it's going to be really great for you, because not only they sound great, they improve your pronunciation as well. Believe it. It's impressive the things that you can do with tongue twisters. Now, that's all for today, folks. Have a great day. See you later.